Hey guys, my name's Gloria and welcome back to my channel. It has been a while, hasn't it? I think it's been almost a month since I uploaded. So at the end of the video I will do a short explanation for anyone who is nosy or curious or whatever as to why I haven't been on any kind of social media for a while. But first off, I do have a couple of book reviews to do. Both of them are by the author Glen Rolfe. One of them I bought myself like last year just as a big birthday book buy thing, and the other was actually sort of officially the last ARC review that I accepted the day after I posted a video saying that I wasn't accepting reviews anymore. This author clearly hadn't seen that, obviously, and had just messaged me on Twitter and said, would you be interested in reading my book? And being a gobshite, I couldn't say no, so I said yes, and I'm actually very glad that I did. So the two books that I read of his, this one, the physical one I bought myself, is called The Haunted Halls by Glen Rolfe. A cool cover there. And we also have, I believe it's called August's Eyes. I was right. August's Eyes by Glen Rolfe. Both have, it wasn't planned, I just had this top on and then everything turned out red and orange, and they're both quite fiery coloured covers as well. So I believe I read The Haunted Halls first. So this is quite an interesting book, and I think it is handled really well as well. I knew once I started reading this book that I was going to at least enjoy the writing in August's Eyes as well, because he handles it really well. This is the story of a hotel. It's called the Bruton Inn, and there have, as with most hotels, there have been some brutal and strange acts there. And we come into the story with these two young people who've started working there because in the last few months the more experienced workers have left because there were two dead bodies found in the pool. And this sparks off a lot of strange rumours and paranormal events within the hotel. The origin story of this thing that is stalking the halls of this hotel and sort of taking people over and causing horrible things to happen is quite interesting, a little bit different for me, and I think the main crux of the story and part of the reason why it was a tiny bit hard to get a grasp on, but also was impressed with the way that it was handled, was because it does involve so many of the people who work at the hotel, so many of the residents that are staying there. There are some residents that are sort of long-term residents who seem to stay there a lot for various reasons, and there's some that are just in for this weekend that's happening. And there's also a medium, I believe he is an indigenous Native American shaman, but he's sort of a charlatan. He has taken what he was taught by his family and his ancestors and sort of mugged it off so that he could sell books and he could just make money off it even when things aren't real. But he does actually have some abilities in that realm as well, and he becomes very attracted to this hotel, sort of feeling that something is going on here. So the actual book sort of jumps back and forth in time, but again not in a crazy confusing way. The origin story of this entity to the present where things are happening, and the entity story, I think it's in the 90s, I don't think it's that long before. It's in the 80s, and it follows these two young women, late teens, who are best friends, but it's a very toxic relationship. There's a lot of crazy stuff happening that they're getting into, and this eventually leads to the present day, where there's this thing in the hotel and it is hell-bent on drawing as much power as possible and fucking up as many people as possible. And our main characters of Rhiannon and Jeff, who are these young people who work in the hotel, just have to try and stay alive, try and keep their guests alive, and try and figure out how to stop what is actually going on. So there's a lot in this book. There's a lot happening, sort of all at once. All these different characters, all these little breakaway groups that are doing different things. It's quite brutal at times. There's definitely there's talk of sexual assaults and rapes, and there's a lot of blood and gore and violence and stuff like that. It was all really well written though, and really entertaining, intriguing, and the only qualm I would have is that there were just a few too many characters. I think if a few of the minor characters had been taken out, I would have been a lot more invested in some of the other characters, but our main characters are great and the main story is great. It's really creepy, really just interesting and rich story in this one. So that is The Haunted Halls by Glen Rolfe. And then we are on to August's Eyes, which is a harrowing tale, let me tell you. So August's Eyes begins with our main character, but as a young child, and something traumatic happening to a friend of his, and it's something that he's sort of pushed back into his childhood. He never came to terms with, and he's never quite forgiven himself for, and this has obviously led to a lot of issues in his adult life as well. We can all learn from that, I think. He is now a social worker. He has a wife that he loves. He's living with her, but things are starting to happen and are starting to come back to him, and he's getting a little... He's getting vibes. He's getting negative vibes that he's not liking, in particular about this van that he keeps seeing around town. And almost at the same time, he starts getting these nightmares, and they are quite horrific nightmares. They're nightmares where he is a young boy again, and he is in this graveyard with these two other boys. One of them is missing an eye, and one of them has no eyes whatsoever, and in this dream he calls him August. He feels like he knows him, but there's something not quite right about him. There's definitely something sinister, something dark about him, and they're all hanging out in this graveyard, and these boys are trying to get him to pick his own grave, and they call it Graveyard Land. And there is an even darker entity that lives in this graveyard land, that one of them is sort of trying to pull him towards it. The other is like, you better stay away from that, that's really not good. And he can't really figure out what's going on in these dreams, but they keep happening, and they seem more and more real and are bleeding into his everyday life, then causing stress with him and his wife, and just freaking him out at all times. And at the same time, there is a young man, a teenager, who he has been helping out. He's his social worker, and this young man is has been sort of taking care of his little sibling and his mother while his mother is going through some addiction issues. She's getting better now, but he's still taking care of everyone and still has to work for the family. So he's trying to build his own landscaping business, and he figures, why not try landscaping the graveyards? Because in their small town there seem to be a few more graveyards than most towns would have. So he thinks, if I could take over one of those, if I could apprentice to the guys already doing it, maybe I can make some more money out of it. And so he tries to do this, but one of the people who is in charge of most of the graveyards is a real sketch guy. And what do you know? He might be connected to this van that has not just been seen by our main character, but is now following this young boy around. He's seeing it everywhere. It seems to be coming towards him a lot, and he's getting real freaked out about it. There's a few sort of mysteries and secrets in the story that I don't want to give away, but it is just, it's just, there's bits that are just really heartbreaking. There's some bits that are really, oh, you hate it. Like, it's a really good story and it's really well written, but when some of these things happen to these characters, or some of the actions that they take, you're just pulling your hair out at the roots, wishing that it wasn't happening. But it is a really great story. I'm really glad that I was asked to read this. It takes this awful, really dark thing that happened in the past and merges it with this paranormal, messed up kind of thing. Not really, there were just a few sort of Freddy Krueger vibes, but not in the Freddy Krueger way, and it just was messed up. It was real messed up. It was fucked up. And I really, I liked it, but I hated it at the same time. There's trigger warnings in that for child abuse, but it's definitely well worth a read, well worth diving into those really creepy, darker corners of the story. Yeah, you should definitely check that out if you get the chance. So that's my reviews for both of Glen Rolfe's books. He has found a new fan. I will definitely be picking up more of his books in the future, happily so. Thank you for sticking around for the books. If you like what I'm doing here, you can like and subscribe down below, and I'm about to go into where I've been for the past month, so you can skip it if you don't really give a damn. So I haven't uploaded in almost probably a month at this point. I also haven't been reviewing books. I haven't been posting on Instagram or anywhere, because a big life thing happened. So to get the small thing out of the way, first of all, initially I'd kind of planned on, I knew after the last video that I posted that I wouldn't be posting for a couple of weeks because I was getting ready for a performance competition. And I had to do costume and practice and all this stuff. I did end up doing it, and I came third. So I got a medal and my first ever trophy. And by the way, yes, this is the third place crown. The first place crown was well deserved, and actually cut poor Michelle's nose because it was so big it fell on her face and she had like a cut on her nose because it's ridiculously big. So very grateful to have been in my first performance since before the pandemic and everything. It was weird because of COVID and masks and stuff, but it was also very cool, very amazing people, women that I danced with, and that was very cool. I think it was the night after, or two nights after, that the bad thing happened. Basically, in my last video I said that I would be moving to America for 6 months because of my boyfriend's job, and I wouldn't be working my day job, and I would be working, or I would just be focusing on my writing and stuff. Instead, we broke up. So really nothing's gonna change with my book channel or anything. I'm not gonna, it's not a sob fest. I'm not gonna go into it or anything. But just to say that I am 100% devastated. We were together for 7 years, so it's not just like a small thing. It's I haven't been okay. I'm not okay, and I'm probably not going to be okay for quite a while. So I don't know how my uploading schedule or anything is going to be. I'm just sort of taking it day by day and trying not to cry. Trying not to actually go off the deep end. So yeah, I think I mean, for a lot of reasons I didn't want to be on social media. It's not good to be when you're manic, but also literally the last video was me announcing that I was going to America, and then I have to come back on and be like, actually no. So that's where I've been crying a lot in my bed, but I have watched a lot of movies. I've still been reading books and stuff, so I have a lot of horror movie reviews to do and stuff, and book reviews, and I will be focusing a lot more on my writing now, just to sort of distract myself and whatnot. But yeah, just don't expect too much. I mean, no one was expecting too much from me anyway, but yeah, that's what I've been dealing with. But I will be doing more reviews, more book reviews, more movie reviews. I will also be taking some elocution lessons because clearly I can't speak anymore. But yeah, thank you so much for people to still be subscribed to my channel. I was so expecting to come back and have like 10 subscribers again, but yeah, I'm gonna get back into this, and hopefully it will serve as a distraction, as something to focus my mind on, and I will be back with more and better reviews in the future. So if you've gotten this far, thank you so much for caring, even if it was just to be nosy. If you're new and you don't know what the hell's going on, ignore that. I don't always go into that. It's mainly just the books. I just felt a full month deserved a bit of an explanation for the people who stayed. So if you like what I'm doing here, you can like and subscribe down below. There will be more in the future, and I shall see you in the next video.